Greetings and welcome to another video by Sir Mike the Hedge Knight, part 2 of Battle of Blackwater. Let us hop in. I want to start with, gotta tell you, not much really changes. Again, this is one of those events where you don't really have to switch out characters too much. There's a couple things that I will talk about where I think things can help by making a couple of swaps. I do want to sort of theorycraft a little on some ideas that I had, but it's always a good idea in these events to have an idea of what you're shooting for. So, I didn't go back and replay normal, one or two scenarios just to try some things out. I was pretty happy at 2,357,000. I'm in third. Now, as I mentioned in my first video, the rewards for normal and hard don't even have any legendary shards. So, am I going to try to get another 10,000, squeak out 10,000 points so that instead of 5 gold dragons, I get 20? No, that's that's not going to happen. So 2,357,000 I thought was pretty solid. That's generally winning on turn one, and we'll go through some of the scenarios. I was very happy to break 2-3 at hard, 2-3-2-9, and I think I'm barely in third against some really tough scores here. Treacherous, I was a little disappointed because now you have legendary gear for first place. Remember, only one piece so far. This was my first run through on Kingslayer. I think I replayed one scenario and just got a couple thousand more points. It's one of the ones I'm going to go through in this video. So far, holding on to first. So I would be I think I put all my efforts into maximizing my Kingslayer score. Kingslayer is very difficult in this event, even if you have the horses. I have some members of my alliance with teams that are very similar to mine, but a little bit stronger even, and they're getting tripped up on chapter 12, which we're gonna spend a little time in this video talking about chapter 12, because that is the toughest battle in the entire event, and you got to get lucky. So let's talk a little about the event. Joffrey, I think the keys to this event are this: blue Joffrey as lead at 5-star. When an enemy drops below 50%, he destroys 3 gems. I believe it's at 5-star that kicks in. At 4 and below, I think it's just 2 gems. And the second key to this event, perhaps even more important, is Old Stannis. And Old Stannis, his passive, which, it works out well. Joffrey's ability is only if he's the leader. So if this ability for Stannis was also as lead, then you got a little bit of a problem. You can't get both. But Stannis' passive, every time an enemy is defeated, he'll destroy 2 power-ups or gems if available. And you see I've got him at 5-star, and I'm kind of close to 6, and it kills me because I think those players that had higher scores than me, they got to have Stannis at 6. So I think the combo is blue Joffrey 5, Stannis 6. So if every enemy you defeat, you get them below 50, Joffrey breaks 3 gems, you defeat them. Stannis breaks 4. That's 7 broken gems per enemy without using any skills. That's not, Blue Hound breaks some, and Caraxes will destroy some hazards, and we talked about that in the first part of the video. 7, so if you get through like the first wave of 3 enemies, that's 21 broken gems. Now, for most scenarios, I've been doing this. I've got Caraxes at 4. He's got a fast speed skill, which I like, and 80% chance to destroy 2 hazards, and the wildfire gems are hazards. So being able to destroy them, I presume you get some stamina. Also, they become these red dragon gems, so when you match them, and we'll take a quick look at that. When you match red dragon gems, now it says the gems do 100% physical damage. Is it gem damage? Is it Caraxes damage? I'm not entirely sure. But it hits everybody. And it applies fire. The fire, not that big a deal. No one's going to live long enough for the fire to really do all that much of a difference. This is not a fire team. But you're doing additional damage. You're putting more red gems on the board. You're removing wildfire. Having more red gems on the board means more stamina for Caraxes with his fast speed skill to remove more wildfire, and for Stannis, who hits all enemies as well. And again, it's a speed event. You want to save as many turns as you can. So you're hoping to get your skills as quickly as you can. If you take a look at Battle 4, you're fighting one enemy, Melisandre. Similarly, the final battle, 15, you're fighting one real tough enemy in New Stannis. If you're fighting one enemy, my advice is this: while blue Joffrey will still trigger when you get that enemy below 50%, that's only going to happen one time. So if this is the type of team you're going with, I would switch the leader from Joffrey to Stannis. Take the extra 25% gem damage, because that's for every turn, all your gems, all your cascades, rather than 3 gems that Joffrey's going to break. Wildfire, not as much of a concern. You'll start with 3 on the board, and yeah, maybe they'll spread a little, but it's not going to be like what we're going to see in Battle 12, where the wildfire fills the entire board no matter what you do. So you'll take a little bit of wildfire damage, but it's still a speed event. So deal with the wildfire damage. Maybe you match some of them here and there, but really it's about killing that one enemy as quick as you can. And I would recommend switching the leader from Joffrey to Stannis. I would also recommend, and I've done better by doing this, if you're going with this template, now it's time to take Caraxes out, because again, wildfire, not as much of a concern. So I put Melisandre in, and my purple Varys, who is 4-star, so better than my only 4-star epic blue Sandor Clegane the Hound. Now, if you've got Sandor Clegane at 5, 6, 7-star maximum level, maybe he's better than Varys because he does damage and he breaks gems. So in my particular case, my Varys is stronger. But basically, point being, going with my strong team, not worried about wildfire, one enemy. Got to get Caraxes out of there. I want the 100% gem damage bonus for Baratheons, 125 if you got Stannis' lead. And take him out as fast as you can. And I have done better those 2 battles. So Battle 4, Battle 15. So one thing I want to sort of theorycraft with you before we hop into that dreaded Battle 12 is trying to find a way, rather than winning on turn 1 by matching some gems, creating cascades, etc., want to see if there's a way to win on turn 0. Now, the Greens have a tough time because all buffs are removed every time wildfire is placed on the board. So they basically start with no birthright, and the Greens without birthright, they do have stamina. So I was wondering, like, if you have all 7-star Greens and you got full stamina, would hitting without a birthright, are they strong enough that they could still cut through on turn 0? Couldn't tell you. I don't have the Greens level, but it's, maybe. So I'm trying to come up with some other ways. And one of the things that I came up with, and I just haven't had too much luck, and I think it's because I don't have Stannis at 6, and I'll explain why, but there are some characters in the game that start with full stamina. One of them here is Walder Rivers. You'll see that he begins combat with full stamina, and it's not as his leadership ability. So that's a good thing. And his skill will hit everyone if they're bleeding. So I want something that hits everyone, and he starts with full stamina, but they got to be bleeding. So the combo I came up with there is using Ramsay Bolton as the leader. At the start of combat, he has an 80% chance to inflict up to 2 bleed on each opponent. If you get him up to 5 stars, it's 100%. So chances are, wave 1, 3 enemies, they all start with 1 or 2 bleed. Walder starts with full stamina, and at least at the normal difficulty level, I can wipe all 3 out. Now I've got Stannis in there for his passive. He'll break 2 gems per defeated enemy, and that's only 6. And when I've done this, it just wasn't enough. I didn't get stamina enough to fill his bar or Caraxes' bar or Blue Sandor Clegane's bar so that they could get their skill off. Didn't create a lot of cascades. Now, you might get lucky. You certainly might get lucky, and then you get through the second wave and create more cascades, etc. But without Blue Joffrey in there as lead, because I've got to have Ramsay in there at lead to start them with bleed, otherwise Walder Rivers doesn't do anything. Maybe with Stannis at 6, it works. So now instead of him destroying 2 gems for those 3 enemies, he'll destroy 4 gems for the 3 enemies. That's 12 gems instead of 6. The board only has 35, so that's a third of the board. That'll create a bunch of stamina. Should get a couple of cascades out of it. Maybe that's enough that then Caraxes or stamina can go wipe out the second wave of 2. I'm just thinking in the first battle. So that's one of the things I came up with. I also found this Bolton Shieldman, and I've only worked him up to, I got him at 7-star. I only leveled him up to 100 because I'm just kind of experimenting and I don't want to waste too much in resources, but he also starts with full stamina. So you'll get a hit off, and he hits for 180% defense physical damage. It's single target. Even at normal, getting him up to level 100 and his defense is 9.1, 180% of that is, 15,000. he wasn't able to one-shot someone. Now, yes, can I level him up to 200 and eventually get him to 350? Sure. Is it worth it? So the combo that I had was Ramsey as lead, Walder Rivers to wipe out the first wave. Then the Bolton Shieldman can, in the second wave, theoretically kill one enemy. That's more gems broken for Stannis. And then hopefully by then, if you've got Stannis and let's say Caraxes in there, hopefully you at least have Caraxes going who'll break some wildfire gems. Maybe that'll get you some stamina to get Stannis going. Maybe you can do a turn 0 win there. But it seems like you got to put a lot of resources into people that you may not otherwise be using. So I would love to do it. I would love to if I get Stannis to 6, I think I'll start putting some silver into these guys and leveling them a little bit more and experimenting with it. But unless you get them all the way up to like 300, 350, you're only looking at normal difficulty. And as I said before in part 1 of this video, normal difficulty rewards are kind of non-existent. So it's a lot of effort just to sort of say that you did it. If you get them super high, maybe you get through hard, but would that combo get you through Treacherous or Kingslayer? I mean, I don't. I think you got. I don't know. My assumption would be probably not. I don't know if you're one-shotting people at Kingslayer with this guy. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So that's one of the things that I came up with. The other thing I came up with, which I can't experiment with now because I don't have him, is Meryn Trant. Now, Meryn Trant begins with full stamina, and he has an attack that hits all enemies. Now, it's 100% of his attack, and he is a protector. His attack is very low. His defense is very high, so it's not super strong. But the nice thing here, as opposed to Walder Rivers, is I don't need to use Ramsey as leader. So if I've got Meryn Trant at at least 2-star, probably got to have him higher if you're looking at real difficulties. But if you've got Meryn Trant at, let's say, 4 or 5-star, you can still have Joffrey as leader. You can still have Stannis in there, hopefully at 6. And now on turn 0, Meryn Trant clears the first wave. Triggers Joffrey, triggers Stannis, triggers Cascades, this, that, the other thing, because now you've got Joffrey and Stannis breaking gems. So again, if you've got Blue Joffrey at 5 and Stannis at 6, that's 7 broken gems per enemy. If Meryn Trant kills 3 weak enemies in the first wave, that's 21 broken gems on a board of 35. I mean, if that doesn't create Cascades, I don't know what will. That's going to generate a lot of stamina. And, then hopefully you'll get Stannis' ability, Caraxes' ability, and so forth. So that, I wish I could illustrate. I don't even have Meryn unlocked. I do think you could then win on turn 0 and maximize your scores, at least at normal and hard. And if he's very high level, then perhaps even getting into Treacherous, maybe a Treacherous as well. All right, well, without further ado, let's hop into that dreaded Battle 12 and let's see how we do. We've got 3 gems on the board with Wildfire. Now there's different animations behind the gems. There's like a very light peppering of Wildfire that you'll see, I think, only at normal or maybe at hard as well. So it takes them a while until they start spreading. This, I think, is the maximum Wildfire flames, which means that there's a chance of them spreading every turn, which is just all sorts of fun. Well, here's the board that we've got. I really prefer to get some red to start. The nice thing is I am going to match probably 4 blue, which should kill this Lannister Spearman, which will trigger Joffrey, trigger Stannis. Hopefully we get some Cascades. It'll also break 1 of the Wildfire gems. So, all right, let's hop in. And, all right, we got some Cascades, killed another guy, bursts more gems. All right, we've got some skills going. Now, while we're here, so far so good, right? It gets a lot. For those of you who haven't haven't enjoyed Battle 12 yet on Kingslayer, yeah, you'll see it's gonna be a lot of fun. Here's the problem. So here's this new guy, this red guy, this Pyromancer Acolyte. His skill does fire, blah blah blah. But skill's not the issue. Here's the issue. He has an HP guard at 50% and 25%. And when the HP guard is triggered, or when he's defeated, he's going to spawn 2 Wildfire gems. So normally only on new waves are we getting new Wildfire gems. So they don't, as long as you knock a couple out and Caraxes maybe knocks a couple out and the Cascade knocks 1 out, you're good. Every couple of waves, every wave 3 more come in, okay, no big deal. There's a bunch of these acolytes. I think also Battle 10, you start seeing them. There's some in 11. There might be some in Battle 13 as well. But this one is where there's the most. And him spawning 2 wildfire gems, that's going to happen 3 times. Now, I was again, theory crafting, maybe you could stun him. Perhaps if he's stunned, the passive won't trigger when the HP guard will probably still kick in, but maybe he won't spawn the gems. But how much stun are you going to have? There's a bunch of these guys. What are you going to stun them once, twice? Maybe that helps a little bit. So again, just spitballing there. So you're going to get into 50%. He's going to put more wildfire on the board. Then you're going to get into 25. He puts more wildfire on the board. Then you kill him. He puts more wildfire. I almost thought about taking Caraxes out for this fight, and perhaps that's best because what's the point? There's going to be so much wildfire on the board anyway. Maybe it's better to go with your best team. There is something that I think helps, and Davos, I've said in other videos how good I believe the new Davos Seaworth is. When an enemy is defeated, he destroys a random gem, which obviously we're into gem destruction, and he heals all allies for 5% of his max HP. Now his max is, again, he's a marksman, so it's not super high. I've got some legendary gear on him, so 73k, not bad. 5% of that is 36 to 3,700, something like that, but it's per enemy. So as you're killing it, you're taking down, everyone's taking damage from wildfire being thrust onto the board, and when the pyromancers are putting them on the board. But now as you're picking people off, he's healing everybody. It's a passive heal. So I think that keeps you afloat, or at least gives you a chance, so that when you get to the final battle, which is ridiculous, when you get to that final battle, maybe you're not, on your last legs with 2 guys dead and 2 people down to 5%. So I think those things help. When you put on Davos's scout or anybody's scout, generally, you either put it on the most dangerous enemy or you put it on somebody that's a little bit harder to hit. With Cascades, only a couple lanes hit him. We do have Blue Sandor going, so I think we're going to hit. He's good against red. He can break some gems. I mean, he did what damage he could. Nothing fantastic. Well, we only have 1 wildfire on the board right now, so let's get it out of here. Oh, we triggered an HP guard, so let's see what happens. A couple of wildfire. Okay, but now we have Caraxes, so he can get rid of those wildfire. Okay, so far so good. Caraxes broke 1 and Cascades broke another. We triggered another HP guard. But now we've got Caraxes again. Now, do we want to use Caraxes now? I might save him. Yeah, you know what? Now, let's use Joffrey now, because he's a single target guy. This should kill the Pyromancer. We get some gem destruction. And we're at a new wave. Now, no Pyromancers here, but look at what the board looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 wildfire on the board. We have 9 enemies to go, folks. So this is a long scenario. At the end, there's a bunch of pyromancers and like the head pyromancer. I mean, it's just oodles of fun. Let's go Caraxes. Let's see if we can break some gems. He hit 2 of them, which is great. Let's go Stannis, do some damage. Should get people below 50. I think we'll get through this wave. Get some Cascades, break some gems. All right, we're cutting down the wildfire, doing good. Now, this guy came in, so just because somebody comes on the screen doesn't necessarily mean it's a new wave. They don't really explain that, but you'll see that those 3 wildfire gems, they were already on the board before this new pyromancer got here. So just something to note. So not every time you clear the board and 1 or 2 guys come in, it's not always a new wave. Always want to get Davos on him because he creates Seekers, and those Seekers will be destroyed when, assuming we can kill this guy within 3 turns. He does have a couple hit point guards, but if we can kill him within 3 turns, when an enemy is defeated when they're scouted, Davos will also destroy Seekers. So gem destruction, creating Cascades, can't say it enough. Let's go Caraxes first. Even though he hits multiple targets, we got 1 guy, great. Getting rid of some wildfire. Let's go Blue Sandor. Let's up. And he broke the wildfire gem, which seems to happen at least a decent amount of the time. Stannis, let's see if we can get down to that hit point guard. We did. Well, we're out of skills. I think we're going to break these red dragon gems. I want to do a red match. Red is our strongest color. The dragon gems will do damage to him on their own. Maybe perhaps we'll trigger his 2nd hit point guard, and we did. Looks like our gem destruction knocked a couple of wildfire gems out, and then because of his hit point guard, he put a couple of more in. Caraxes or Stannis? I think Stannis might be able to kill him, so let's go Stannis first. Oh, we're just short. We're just short. Oh, that's such a shame. 845. Well, I don't know if I want to burn Caraxes here because I think we're getting to the fun wave. So I think we're gonna. I hate taking a turn here, but really this battle is not so much about points; it's about survival. And I want to make sure we have Caraxes going into the next wave. So let's blow this bomb. He's toast. Looks like the wildfire hit us, but you'll see on the bottom some healing. That's the Davos heal. Here comes the Master Pyromancer and four of his buddies. So even though the board was not in bad shape, we are starting this battle with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wildfire gems. There are 4 Pyromancer acolytes with 2 hit point guards, and when they are defeated, they'll put more. So that's 6 more wildfire. That's 24 more wildfire coming. Taking a look at this Wisdom Helene, the Pyromancer. So his skill, should he live long enough to trigger it, he is slow speed. He puts a bunch of fire on. It says he does fire damage to all champions. I think that's his guys as well, because his passive says if he afflicts an ally with fire, he gives them fire resistance. If he hits your guys with fire, you get a debuff, a fire resistance debuff. That's not really the issue. The good thing about it, like, he doesn't have a hit point guard. He doesn't put more wildfire on the board. You could see what a mess this is. Definitely want to put my Davos scout on him. We want to be able to whittle him down as fast as we can. Now, I got Caraxes, so how many was it? 11, 10, 11? A lot of wildfire on the board. Let's hope to get rid of 1 or 2 of them, which is sort of pointless because the whole board, he actually didn't trigger at all, which is unfortunate. Looks like Davos' scout hit one of the, you remember Davos has a chance to hit multiple characters with his scout. So when I hit with Joffrey, I'm going to hit someone in the back all the way on the right side who's not going to take as much gem damage and also doesn't have scout. There's a hit point guard. We didn't get much of a here comes some cascades, and got another guy to 50%. So there's more wildfire on the board, and now we're out of skills, and we got a lot of wildfire here, and I don't have a lot of red gems, and I am not liking this too much. Well, I'm going to use this purple on the right side, which will also trigger a yellow. I guess we'll do this. Now that wildfire took a ton of damage from wildfire. I'm not going to sit here and count how many wildfire gems are on the board now. Too many to count. I got Davos again. Let's get scout on the guy on the right. Really, the hope is to finish the combat and have somebody alive. That's what we're gunning for here. What are we doing with Blue Sandor? Well, we got both hit point guards off of this third Pyromancer. This guy on the right, it looks like his hit point guard is about to go, so I don't want to hit him now because then I'll waste the damage from Blue Sandor. So we're going to hit this second guy, get him close. Looks like he either didn't break any gems, or if he did, it went a little bit too quickly. But I've got a little bit of a red-blue cascade here, which is some of the gems that are not wildfire. Like, I'd really like to destroy some wildfire here, right? Maybe I'll do these 4 reds up here, and we'll skip the blue, because red is more important. Broke a little bit of wildfire, took a bunch of damage, killed someone, got a little bit of a heal out of Davos. Cascades. All right, well, we're not dead yet. We're not dead yet. It looks like we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Now, scout is on the first 2 guys. We're going to use Davos' scout on the last guy, and we've got our skills going, which is great. Caraxes, take out as much wildfire as you can, hit as many people as you can. Stannis, hit as many people as you can. And we are through it. Not bad. I might have even improved my score. Nope, 300 points worse than last time. I actually thought that went pretty well. So for people that are struggling with Battle 12, I hope you sat there and watched through the whole thing. I don't even know necessarily that I got entirely that lucky. There were some good cascades, but toward the end, there were not as many good cascades. I had a little bit of a rough board. I had to kind of struggle to say, well, what am I breaking here? That is what I've used to get through this battle. I'm sure there are plenty of other methods. Again, I've just got some 4 or 5-star guys. If you've got a bunch of 7-star guys, maybe they just brush off this wildfire damage. Like, yeah, no big deal. I've got 150,000 hit points. Who cares? So, and maybe they do just so much damage with their skills and with their gem damage. Like, so there's probably other ways of getting through it. But I will say, in discussing it with people in my alliance, a lot of people are having a lot of trouble with that Battle 12. So can't repeat it enough. Blue Joffrey lead. Old Stannis. Gotta have him in there. I additionally think the new Davos. And in a perfect world, Blue Joffrey is 5-star, so that he destroys 3 gems. Yellow Davos has to be at least 4-star, so he destroys all Seekers when a scouted enemy is defeated. He also has a passive heal. I think if you get him to 6-star, his passive heal goes from 5% to 7.5. And a 6-star Old Stannis, which I do not have, so he destroys 4 gems rather than 2, prioritizing power-ups. That is what has gotten me through this event. Comment below. Let me know how you did. Let me know about your struggles or successes in Battle 12 or with the event overall. And we will see you soon.